Namaskar and welcome to Kala Kahani, comprising stories of artists and their crafts, their personalities, their vision, from a different perspective, a different angle. ये सभी कलाकार देश के विभिन्न भागों से हैं, मुख्तलिफ शैलियों के हैं। ज्यादातर ये आज की पीढ़ी के उत्कृष्ट कलाकार हैं, लेकिन कुछ इनके सीनियर्स भी हैं। सो वेलकम टू कला कहानी सीजन 1। कला कहानी में आज हमारे बीच हैं आज के समय की बहुत ही पॉपुलर वोकलिस्ट, द वेरी चार्मिंग, द वेरी ब्यूटिफुल कौशिकी चक्रवर्ती। कौशिकी चक्रवर्ती पटियाला घराने के सुविख्यात पंडित अजोय चक्रवर्ती और श्रीमती चंदना चक्रवर्ती की सुपुत्री है। कौशिकी was initially trained by her mother, who is herself an accomplished singer, और फिर उनके पिता उन्हें अपने गुरु और अपने मेंटर गुरु ज्ञान प्रकाश घोष के पास ले गए और इस तरह से कौशिकी गुरु ज्ञान प्रकाश घोष की गंडाबंद शिष्या बनी। आपको अनेक पुरस्कारों से सम्मानित किया जा चुका है, जिनमें प्रमुख है संगीत नाटक अकेडमी का उस्ताद बिस्मिल्लाह खां युवा पुरस्कार। Kaushiki is today the single most popular vocalist of a generation, and we are very, very happy to have her with us. Kaushiki ji, कला कहानी में आपका स्वागत है।
Thank you so much, Sadhana ji. It has always been a treat to have you around in concerts and in interviews. So I'm so glad to have another chat session with you. Thank you so much.
Same here. At what age did you start singing?
याद नहीं साधना जी, इतनी छोटी थी और the journey had started so early and so spontaneously कि किसी बच्चे को अगर आप पूछे कि आपने खेलना कब से शुरू किया, वो बच्चे के लिए बहुत मुश्किल हो जाती है कि to remember when was the first time she must have played. So my journey with music started so playfully. I've had 12 best friends in music. And I've never needed any more, fortunately.
You sing in Hindustani classical, you do collaborative work. So how many genres have you experimented with?
Actually, I started off only learning and singing Hindustani music, which is the North Indian classical music, till when I was in my late 20s, approaching 30s. So that's kind of late because when I see around all my contemporary musicians and my colleagues, so to say, they had started collaborations and doing different kinds of experiments long before I ever thought of doing something like that. We all want to explore and discover newer areas of our experience for the sake of experience. But yeah, for that hunger itself, I think I wanted to learn Carnatic music, which took me to Dr. M. Balamurali Krishna ji. And he has been very, very kind and affectionate to kind of accept me as a student, knowing very well that my predominant space will always be Hindustani classical music. But he was a father figure to my father, so that way he was like a very affectionate grandfather, and that bonding and that love I will always cherish in his blessings. One of our friends in Kolkata, who had given me my first song for the movies. And I never thought I'll sing for the movies, but he gave me a song which was kind of had a little bit of Thumri touch to it. But of course, it was not a Thumri. So he said that, why don't you just try singing this song?
Which song was this?
This was Patiyala Brishti. It was a bilingual song. So 2 lines were in Hindi and the rest of the song was in Bengali. पत्तों का है जिस्म जानम भीग जाने दो, पाता झरा बृष्टि बोलो কেন এনেছো পাতা ঝরা বৃষ্টি বলো কেন এনেছো पत्तों का है जिस्म जानम ही जाने हो. So it was like a it did have a semi-classical touch, but it was for a movie. So it was more friendship sake that I thought, okay, let's give it a try. So I sang, and then that was very well received, very well accepted. Eventually, I saw myself singing a Tamil song, a Malayalam song, some Bengali songs, very few, but a couple of Hindi songs. And then Shantanu Mutlu came up with the MTV Folk Studios. And it's funny that by then I didn't even know what MTV Folk Studios was.
कारी नैना साची बात करे कारी नैना काहिरार करे बरसे तरसे तरसे बरसे बरसे तरसे तरसे बरसे ना लगे जियरा.
So nothing was very planned. And as I always say that I'm very bad at planning. So, and I think that people who are bad at planning, somebody up there plans it for them. So things kind of started falling in place, and I I did get a couple of very very special, nice, happy opportunities to explore my own musical uh, spaces, my own musical interests, because every single song I think comes with a challenge and comes with an opportunity.
Now tell me something about Sakhi. It is an all woman group, orchestra, or what you call it.
I prefer to call it just a band, a classical, semi-classical music band. Why? Because whenever we talk about Sakhi, the first thing, as you also have mentioned, it's an all-woman group of musicians. Majority of the groups are of male musicians. Okay, this is an all-male band. We never say that. And musician, the term itself, like doctor, like lawyer, like nurse, it's beyond the gender, you know, boundaries.
But it is unique, and you know it. It is unique.
Perhaps this is the first group of musicians where vocal music, instrumental music, percussion, and dance has been brought together under the same umbrella of one single name. So we are a group of musicians where Geetam, Vadyam, and Nrittam, everything comes together.
Your husband Parthasarthi is also a vocalist. How does he complement you as a singer? Is there some culture of constructive feedback, or do you steer clear of each other's work?
It's a very healthy, sometimes argumentative, because it's important that we sometimes have different perspectives to the same thing. And he's not only a musician, he's also we have learned from the same guru. We both have learned from Baba. So we look at music from the same background, but not necessarily always from the same perspectives as as creative individuals should. So sometimes having a different perspective to a rag or a bandish or a barhat or a tumbi is a beautiful way to reorient and realign yourself and to try and look at a composition that you are used to, but then to try a newer perspective to approach that composition. He's a very calm and patient and very poised kind of a person. I'm not. So I think that helps me uh, to kind of keep me very, very grounded and rooted and centered in life. And of course, that reflects in the music. I hope that reflects in the music. And but yeah, it keeps me very, very grounded. And the reality um, of a life of a musician that reality check, I think, is very important because the kind of life, the kind of limelight that we have to uh, live our lives in, it's very important to come back to a home which is very real and which is very true and which is very grounded and which is very, very strongly rooted. I think. I think by God's grace, and I've been very, very fortunate again that it's a very solid home which keeps the truth of life in a very, very solid place.
Touchwood. Do you also criticize each other? Suppose कुछ अच्छा नहीं लगा, you'd say that.
It
Yeah,
happens.
yeah. Matlab, just to give you an example, Rangi Sari Gulabi Chunriya is something, a song that I have lived,
Hmm.
literally. It's Shubha Gurtuji's song, and she's been one of my most favorite. Matlab, dilo jaan se chahti hu unko itna. So Rangi Sari, I had learned it from her recordings, uh, and then I generally sing it my way. So after many years of singing it, so he actually said that why don't you try and approach Rangi Sari in a very different way, not so playfully, but maybe approaching that song uh, in a very Shubha Gurtuji way and not a very Kaushiki way, and see where it merges. Maybe you'll find a very different dimension to the song. I think these feedbacks and his understanding of rag is very detailed. Sometimes when I am in little bit of a confusion कि ये रास्ता होता है नहीं होता है रियाज करते वक्त, sometimes I ask him, and we listen to recordings together and try and understand the rag and the space better, and this companionship to understand something that is common in both of our journey. I think that is a common space that I cherish a lot. I like to have a companion when I'm in a journey. So musically, to have my husband and my companion and my friend, and we have been friends forever. So to have him in this journey and to have his feedback, to have his inputs, I think it's very precious.
Are you tech savvy? In the sense, comfortable with using technology to promote your art, whether it is teaching or online interactions or online musical collaborations?
I'm very happy and proud. Yay, I want to dance and scream and say that yes, I have become tech savvy. And I think this time period of 2.5, 3 months almost, I think it has taught many of us many, many lessons. And for me, one such lesson has been to understand technology better, to empower me, and to give me more confidence as to how I can bring my music to the audience or to myself, whenever I'm recording for myself, but with the quality of sound and video that I want. For a singer to not have the right texture of your voice when you listen to yourself is a very unpleasant experience.
Yes.
And if you just, put a phone or an iPad or just a laptop and sing, what happens? These devices are not made to capture the nuanced frequencies. Fortunately, my brother is a sound engineer, Ananjan Chakraborty. I basically borrowed his laptop. I learned to record myself in Logic, which is one of the very fancy softwares to record audio. So, and I've started producing my own tracks a little bit, but yeah, editing and recording. And then, of course, I've learned how to use different cameras to capture video with the greater depth and enhanced light and everything. And of course, to handle the sound quality for a live or for a digital performance, or maybe for a recording for my YouTube channel or something like that. So I've worked around the sound card with audio inputs and video inputs, and to do it from a through a software which kind of syncs all of them. So that's a great learning experience, which of course started with Bhai, and then some of the younger friends that I have, which includes many musicians. They've helped me a lot.
Tell me, you take so much of care about sound and camera. Do you also take care of aesthetics, background, your attire, etc.? Or do you take it as an oral experience and visuals do not really matter?
Very important, because otherwise we would just play a CD and listen to it. It is an audio visual experience. So something which is so special as a performance, where I am ultimately trying to become a very pure medium for music to resonate through me. Because when we are singing, we are like an instrument, like the sarod, like the flute, like the masuri, like the sitar, like the santoor, like any other instrument. So when an instrument is played, we see the person who's playing the instrument. But in case of singers, we don't see who is singing. But ultimately, something is singing through us. And when we prepare ourselves to become that medium, I think every single thing matters.
How long do you spend on your riyaz on a normal day?
Generally, I try to start my day with riyaz first thing in the morning, and I try to do 5 to 6 hours of riyaz every day. But during this lockdown period, I honestly have not been able to do every day 5 to 6 hours because it's tough with a 11-year-old child who has not been to school from the beginning of a new session. So teachers are new, subjects are new, books are new, and the entire class is online. So it's very tough on kids not to have the teacher in person, just to look at a screen and to concentrate and to learn. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy experimenting with different bakings of different kinds of cakes and cookies, and cook grilled and roasted and sometimes very Bengali, sometimes not so Bengali dishes. And I think in a time like this, it is important to stay healthy, but it is also equally important to stay inspired and happy and motivated. And we all have to play a very active role because it's the three of us at home. And so we have to keep each other happy and motivated, and sometimes just sit and watch something on Netflix, which is absolutely inconsequential. But yes, for that happiness and for that, doing something together as a family is important. So, yes. So I think 4 hours, 5 hours I've been trying on most of the days.
Now, how much time do you get to spend with your family, with your son? And your son is also learning the tabla. I remember having presented him with you on stage.
Tabla, and he also sings a little bit. He has been playing the tabla for longer, but lately he has also started taking interest in singing. So time management has become a little more tough because now he has to do both. But yes, with him we are also learning tabla, and with us he's also learning singing. So it's a beautiful process.
Since all of us are reminiscing our travel and holidays, especially during the lockdown, please share with us your most memorable holiday.
Oh yeah, I will start crying if I talk about it. I so miss mountains. We all love mountains, all of us. And me and my husband and son, a small child, we because we trek. So and we go to places where there's no network, there's nothing. So from a very very early age, my son has been very used to being comfortable in nature. Like just sitting somewhere, just looking at the mountains, reading a book, sometimes falling asleep, and sometimes just being there doing nothing, just roaming around, taking pictures of small flowers. We don't know the names, but just a yellow small flower which looks beautiful. And just for the just sitting somewhere waiting for the clouds to clear a little bit so that we can see the peak. When we are on holidays, we are absolutely disconnected from everything from the rest of the world. So we generally choose destinations where there's no network, there's no 4G connection, no Wi-Fi, and we go and we prefer homestays so that we stay with the locals and we eat their food. We sometimes cook with them. We stay with their kids, and my son plays around with their kids, and it's beautiful to be a part of everyone. It's so beautiful and it's so special for us, I think, because this urban life and this life uh, of a known face. Sometimes, sometimes you need to uh, see yourself up close and see the true self that you are. If this is a presence, then I am just absolutely a speck of dust, which does not have any importance, any relevance, any special anything, any uniqueness. So you kind of come back to yourself and feel so grateful for this life, so grateful for the basics that you have had. Uh, Dal chawal ki khichdi for lunch. This itself is such an humbling feeling and such a true feeling. And I think we as a family have been very fortunate to feel it together. And the holidays have always uh, given us such special memories. And you just have to see all our gadgets, the from the laptop to the iPad to all our phones. Everything has a screensaver, which is of some mountain or the other, because we're so missing it. So every time we want to look at something, we want to look at some of our holiday pictures, and we just want to remember it and go back to the pictures and the videos and see it for ourselves and just cherish the memories and wait for the very next opportunity that we can just pack our backpacks and leave and go somewhere.
So, where do you want to go, or rather, where do you plan to go once this lockdown is over?
Himachal Pradesh. I'm just dying to go back. I'm just dying to go back to Dalhousie. And we've done a trek to the Kareri Lake. And Kareri village is beautiful. It's untouched. It's such a beautiful small village. And all you can do is you can walk and walk and walk, and lush green mountains, and you can see the snow peaks in a distance, and you can do treks, and you can trek down to a river which is rumbling, and which is very, you can walk across and you can sit in one of those rocks, and some bluebird will start singing, and some bird will come and sit on another rock, and you will try very hard to take a picture, but the moment your focus is ready, it'll fly away. These small pleasures and these small happinesses, and just to sit there, read a book, and have a cup of tea or coffee in a thermos is bliss. We're so waiting for it, can't tell you.
Thank you very much, Kaushiki, for being with us, for sharing aspects of your life with us, your thoughts and your views with us.
Savana ji, this has been such an amazing chat, a very personal chat, I would say, and that's because of the comfort that we've had for such a long time. Because I remember as a child, I saw you uh, presenting Baba's concerts, and that is how my memory goes back. You know, years.
I have compared a lot of your Baba's programs, and I remember your program with him, if it wasn't your first or maybe your first program, in Kamani Auditorium, where you were singing with him in, I think, the Parivar Parampara festival. It was amazing.
Thank you so much for this chat. I'm crazily optimistic, and we all know that this too shall pass, and in no time we'll be back in a healthy, happy world where we can where we can happily embrace each other.
हमारे साथ इतना समय बिताने के लिए आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. नमस्कार.